Are you ready to continue worship?
Now we're going to light the Christ candle. This reminds us that Christ is here while we worship. This is the story of Moses. After many years, a new Pharaoh ruled. He didn't remember what Joseph had done for Egypt. The people of God became slaves. They were trapped and couldn't go home. There were so many people of God in Egypt that the Pharaoh was afraid that they would take his kingdom away, and he said that all baby boys had to be killed. One of the mothers built a basket out of bulrushes woven together, and she put the baby inside the basket and put the basket in the reeds by the Nile. One of the Pharaoh's daughters found the basket. She named the baby boy Moses, and he was raised in the palace. When Moses was a young man, he saw an Egyptian beating on one of the people of God. He got very angry and killed him and had to go run into the desert. He lived with the family of Jethro and married Zipporah, one of Jethro's daughters. He became a shepherd and lived with them for 40 years. One day, when he was taking care of Jethro's sheep, he took them to the mountain of God, Mount Sinai. Suddenly, he saw a bush that was burning, but it did not burn up. God spoke to Moses through the bush. God said to Moses that he had heard the cries of the people of Egypt, and that Moses needed to go and set them free. Moses said, "How can I be the one to do that?" God said, "I will be with you." "What is your name?" "My name is Yahweh. I am who I am." "Can't you send someone else?" "Aaron, your brother, will go with you, and he will speak for you." Moses went back to Egypt to set the people free. He went to the Pharaoh many times, and the Pharaoh said no. But there are terrible things happening in Egypt. Finally, the Pharaoh said yes. God helped Moses to lead the people through the water to freedom. Moses led the people through the desert for 40 years. The people became tired and hungry and discouraged, and they grumbled to Moses. God showed the people of God that he was with them by providing quail and manna. As they traveled through the desert, they would become thirsty with their travel and complain to Moses. Moses went to talk to God, and God said, "Take a rock and your staff and strike it." Water came from the rock, and the people had something to drink. Something happened that made God angry. Moses did not keep faith with God in the midst of the people. So God told Moses that he would see but never enter the promised land. The people were free, but they didn't know the best way to go. So Moses led them to God's mountain, Mount Sinai. Moses went up to the top of the mountain, and the people waited and waited and waited. Moses was gone a long time. The people began to think that Moses was never coming back, so they asked Aaron to make them a new god to lead them. Aaron took all the gold the women were wearing and melted it, and then he shaped the melted gold into a calf. Aaron said, "This is your God." The people made an altar and started to worship the golden calf. Moses came down from the mountain. He was shining. He had with him the 10 best ways. But then he saw that the people were worshiping the golden calf. This made Moses angry, and he threw the stones, breaking them, and he put the golden calf into the fire. God told Moses to make a box called an ark, and the box would be covered with gold and have poles on each side so that it could be carried wherever they went. God also told Moses about a tent called a tabernacle. He was to bring this with them whenever they stopped to rest with their travels, and inside the tent would be the glory of God. Moses would come close to God, and when he came out, he was shining. After 40 years, they came to another mountain, Mount Nebo. Moses looked over the promised land from the mountaintop, and God said, "I will give this land to the people of God, but you will not cross over." Moses died there, and no one knows to this day where he was buried. I wonder what part of the story that you like best. I wonder what part of the story is the most important. I wonder what part was about you or what part you were in. I wonder if we could leave any of the story out and still have all the story that we need. Please join us in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And now it's time for our blessings. We hope that you all have a wonderful first week of school.